Hi everybody, I'm Kyle Anakin, and this is the Star Wars Talk. Here are the 5 most brought up and probably most wanted possible characters that could be Snoke. 1. Force Ghost. 2. Boba Fett. 3. Plagueis. 4. A Celestial from Mortis. Or 5. Jar Jar. So let's start with the idea of a Force Ghost. You've seen many iterations of these ghosts, but they originate from some of the first Jedi and Sith as a way to retain their identity in the afterlife. Some way or another, the knowledge was lost to the Jedi and Sith, and the Jedi just believed that, quote, death is a natural part of life. I mean, I know I'm quoting Palpatine, but, just hang with me for a second. They believed that when they died, they immediately were brought to the unifying force and became one with the universe. That's how deep the lore goes. But Qui Gon was the first of the recent Jedi to rediscover the secret of the assistance of the Shaman of the Will. Qui Gon spirit guided Yoda, which led Yoda to meet 5 Priestess, and he also guided Obi-Wan Kenobi, the secret of retaining one's individuality after becoming one with the Force. Now, the Wills was named by George Lucas in an early draft of Star Wars series titled Journal of the Wills that was originally created to tie Star Wars to our galaxy, as if it needed to be. In some cases, the Force Ghosts could actually turn from spiritual entities to physical ones, but for the most part they stay spiritual for a while before having to return to the unifying force. So the main reason I say that Snoke is not a Force Ghost is because how could he stay around long if he did rule the galaxy? And better yet, I mean, that's just kind of lazy storytelling. Yay, the big bad guy, somebody we already defeated, yay! So no, I don't think he's a Force Ghost. On to Boba Fett. Boba Fett is the son of Jango Fett, the donor for the Clone Army, and after Mace Windu killed his father, Boba Fett ran away and joined the bounty hunters such as Aurra Sing, as showed in Star Wars, The Clone Wars, the animated series. You see him in his trademark green Mandalorian armor in episodes 5 and 6. And no, I'm not forgetting the 10 seconds that he was in episode 4 afterwards. Early on in episode 6, his jetpack was hit by Luke Skywalker, probably accidentally, and he hit Jabba's sail barge and fell into the Sarlacc pit. Kind of a lame death for such a cool guy. Many people believe that he escaped the pit, and there's an allusion to his armor in the series Journey to the Force Awakens, which is definitely canon. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say that this one is at least likely of all of them, and I'll probably dislike this one the most if it's true. Snoke is listed as being about 7 feet tall, whereas Jeremy Bulloch, the guy who played Boba Fett, is exactly 6 feet tall. Even with his little antenna up here, the heights do not match at all. Also, Boba Fett doesn't have any Force powers, and he's not even Force sensitive. In fact, the only time I've ever seen a Force-sensitive clone was in Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire series, which isn't canon anymore, so I guess I haven't seen it at all. Thanks, Disney. So I don't think it's Boba Fett either. Let's go to Darth Plagueis. Darth Plagueis is first introduced in Episode 3 as Darth Plagueis the Wise in a conversation between Palpatine and Anakin during the Mon Calamari Dancer's performance. His story is basically this. He trained Palpatine and studied the living force, or midichlorians, to help him control life. He was afraid to die and therefore spent his entire life training Palpatine and trying to control the midichlorians to stop himself from dying. Palpatine eventually killed his master, as every Sith does. Because why not? But not only does he kill him, he kills him in his sleep, and according to the book Darth Plagueis, as written by James Luceno, he poisons him, and so therefore Darth Plagueis is dead. Or so you thought. I mean, there is a theory about Plagueis technically being Anakin's dad, and because he created new life as shown in the book I mentioned earlier, many fans speculate this is how he was conceived by the Force without a dad. So if Plagueis is powerful enough to stop others from dying and to create life, what's to say he couldn't stop himself from dying and didn't tell his Padawan? But yes, Palpatine did attack him, so there would be some scarring as shown on Snoke's face, and coming back to near death would probably take him some time to recuperate. Also, listen to the music for Darth Plagueis. Now listen to Snoke's soundtrack real quick. But again, that could be just a general Sith theme. But Plagueis' species is Moon, pronounced M-U-U-N, and is rumored to be from Megiddo. He is about the same height as Snoke as well, which kind of adds points to my beliefs. But the only thing from stopping me from believing that this is true is time. I mean, why would it have taken, and I did my math right too, 65 years to recuperate? Would it have been because Plagueis feared Palpatine? I don't think so. In the book mentioned earlier, which I know isn't canon, the only reason Palpatine could defeat Plagueis is because he poisoned him in his sleep. And then only then did he kill him. So I think that after the formation of the Galactic Empire, he could have taken Palpatine out and been the ruler of everything. So I'm not sure if he really is Snoke or not. Let me know if you think so. And we have the Celestials from Mortis. Now, if you don't remember, and a lot of people haven't seen this, in Star Wars The Clone Wars, the animated series, which is canon in this universe, there was a planet that was shaped kind of like a... kind of like something from Zelda, you know, like those little things like that. Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, but yeah, anyways, it looked like that, and it was a planet where these three celestial beings lived. One was a girl who was the embodiment of the light side of the Force. One was a guy who kind of looked like Darth Plagueis, who was the embodiment of the dark side of the Force. And then there was one neutral old man who kind of looked like Dumbledore, who was, you know, the father of these two, which I think represents the unifying force, in essence. And in that series, you know, a lot of crazy stuff happened. Anakin turned bad, knew that he was going to be Darth Vader, and he turned bad early, but then, like, they fixed him, and, like, all this, I don't know. But people are thinking that it could be a Celestial because of his height, and because of the fact that he says he's been watching. How would he be watching? Well, the Celestials are the embodiments of the Force. So I think that could be a plausible thing, but the only thing I have against that is, what's the point of Luke bringing balance to the Force if somebody more powerful than Palpatine and Vader combined, you know, if they come up, then what was the point of Luke doing what he did? It was like barely doing anything at all. So that's the only problem that I really have with that, is the fact that the lore of Star Wars would be lost if it was a person from Mortis. However, maybe they'll make it work. But here is Jar Jar and why he could be Snoke. Don't click that red X, okay? I promise. Just hear me out, just hear me out. Exhibit A. Do Force users have the ability to jump a lot higher than normal beings? The answer is yes, if you were wondering, and it's demonstrated time and time again, especially in the prequels. Even with Jar Jar jumping into the Lake of Naboo as well. Why is he the only Gungan who exhibited this ability? Exhibit B. Can you shoot down multiple moving targets with something tangled around your ankle? Well, Jar Jar can. And I'd say he'd have to do it by calling on the Force to pull that one off, but, you know, why can't he be a good Force user? Exhibit C. Who gave Supreme Chancellor more executive powers, and who is seen conversing with him in private multiple times during the deleted scenes of Episode 2 and 3? Jar Jar. You may think, well, Palpatine must be manipulating him, right? Right? Well, no. George Lucas intended Jar Jar to be the equivalent to Yoda. At first he seems like a goofball, but then he turns out to be a very important and powerful character, just like Yoda was in Episode 5, which is when Jar Jar would have been revealed. Here we come back to the whole poetry thing again, but seriously, Jar Jar was supposed to make a big reveal in Episode 2, either being Palpatine's Padawan or Master. We may never know, but because all the fan backlash towards Jar Jar, George Lucas decided to create Count Dooku instead. But I want your opinion. Do you think Jar Jar would have been better than Count Dooku? Do you think he would have been like a really cool story point, which would have made the prequels worth it? Go ahead and let me know. But could Disney be reusing the idea of Jar Jar being the main villain? Possibly. I mean, I noticed Snoke didn't have any giant ears or anything, you know, hanging out beside him, or a protruding snout as well. But the one interesting thing is not really in the whole Jar Jar is the next main villain, but more along the lines of, I think I will kill somebody if he is. So in the end, out of all these potential candidates, Darth Plagueis meets the bill a little bit better than any other candidate. But Snoke could also be a totally new character, which would still be more far-fetched than Plagueis, but hey, it is known that Palpatine, like Vader, trained many other pupils, so maybe it's Forgotten Apprentice. Who knows? But that's all the time I have for this episode. Next one, I will talk about how Luke was in The Force Awakens more than you may have realized. So go ahead and leave a comment here on Facebook on who you think it could be, or if I may have missed anything, and remember, may the Force be with you. Did you like that video? Do you like Star Wars? Hey, do you even like me? Yeah, we're past that already. Well, if you answered yes to one of these questions, or maybe all of them, go down to the description and check out my sister page at Live Entertainment for Star Wars videos as well as others. Go ahead. I'll wait. And you know how this goes by now. I mean, come on. If you haven't clicked already, I doubt you're going to click. You know, if you don't click, people in New York will go hungry. Can't have that on your conscience, can you? That's what I thought. Do it. Do it now. Was that supposed to be right? I don't remember. You can edit this later, Kyle. Okay, that's gonna bug me. I'm gonna have to do another one. I forgot my line. Darth Plagueis is... Palpatine eventually killed his master. Exhibit B. Can... shoot. Hello?
Hey.
Hey,